The holiday season is upon us, and for many people, that's a time of joy. But there are some people who are not as fortunate, and that means holiday depression. We brought in an expert to talk about this and how you can get help if you are suffering from such a thing. I'm pleased to be joined by Ed Pane, who is a licensed clinical social worker who also operates a private practice right here in Hazleton. Ed, thank you for being here. This is an important discussion that we should have.
Yes, and some people deal with this every year around the major holidays, and there are some things that can be done for it. You know, some people are merely sad, but some people really find a serious issue with depression at this time. We've prepared a little PowerPoint that maybe as I'm talking we can kind of get through the slides. But the most important thing is starts off with it is more than just being a little sad. Clinical depression is a pretty pervasive condition. And you know, there's a quote on this, on one that we experience it differently, but I extracted a little quote, and if you don't mind, I'm going to read it here. It's from someone who suffers from it. I've always had a hard time at Christmas. I have a great family, but I always find it a lonely time of year. It stirs up when I was young. I was always lonely at Christmas. I see it coming. I just want it to be over. I love the lights, the songs, the movies make me emotional, but I just want it to be over.
Do people recognize that they have this, or are most of them not aware?
Well, skipping around here, there's what we call a trilogy of depression. A trilogy of depression is basically a sleep, a mood, and an appetite disturbance that are significant in causing impairment. Now, the sleep can be I just don't want to get out of bed, pull the covers over me, draw the blinds, or it's I'm lying there awake, I wish I could sleep, I cannot. I wake up in the middle of the night, and now I'm going to be awake for 3 hours. Okay? So that's the sleep. And that's the most serious symptom. You want to mess someone up, mess with their sleep. The second one is the mood, which is oftentimes sad or melancholy, but just as often irritated and sometimes agitated, especially if you're dealing with a male. We tend to do that. Don't smile at me. We tend to do those irritated emotions. One of the things we're sanctioned for and socialized for, so males will tend to be sometimes a little bit more agitated. And then the appetite disturbance is either I don't want to eat at all, or I'm filling myself with comfort food, you know, high carbs, junk food, mac cheese, things that actually flush the dope, it makes the brain flush some dopamine to make it feel better. So it actually is working, but the solution itself becomes a problem. I want to just say a couple of things. One of them is, and then just kind of keeping it simple since we're limited time here, is don't let perfect get in the way of good. Mm-hmm. There are many people who fret over it has to come off just right. Mm-hmm. And then if it doesn't, they make themselves suffer by judging themselves that it wasn't, in spite of the fact that many people will be having a good time. Another thing is set aside differences for this one day. You know, there's families that have differences and squabbles. It's just kind of like, let's resolve, you know, kind of ground rules here. Let's leave it all go for the next couple of hours while we're together.
Very good advice, very well said. For someone out there watching this who maybe feels they are dealing with this, what should they do?
There are a number of places. Certainly calling the local mental health centers, wherever this is being broadcast, is a good thing, and asking to speak with a counselor. We do have something called the helpline. We maybe can get a number and put it in there. It's been 570-829-1341, but they have an 800 number now. And there's always a counselor on 24/7.
Right. We want to make sure everyone has a joyous holiday and joyous all the time.
Yes, we do. And it can be improved. So, you know, clinical depression is a chronic condition, most often runs in families. And it's not just sad. You know, we're talking about a good, solid 10-day duration, no real joy in life, things don't make me happy, it lasts all day, almost every day. Person's affect may be flattened or irritated. There are a number of things that go in, and of course I said the sleep, mood, appetite disturbance, that are among the first things that we look for. So clinical depression is not just sad. You know, it's lasting, it's debilitating, and the nicest part about it is it's treatable.
And that's good news to know. So for someone watching this, if you or someone you know is experiencing it, please get help.